Avrupa'yı Denktaş'ın bize açtığı davalar yüzünden kapatmak zorunda kaldık. Mahkeme Denktaş lehine bize açılan davalarda karar verdi. Çok ağır bir tazminat kararıydı. 200.000 dolar yaklaşık Amerikan parasıyla Denktaş'a ödememiz isteniyordu. Böyle bir paramız tabii ki yoktu. Zaten biz de kendimizi haklı sayıyorduk. Ama davayı kaybetmiştik. Parayı ödeyemeyince haciz geldi bize. Burada ne varsa hepsini alıp götürdüler. Ve gazetenin Avrupa'nın satış gelirine de el koydular. Biz de Avrupa'yı kapatmak zorunda kaldık. Bulduğumuz yeni isim de Afrika oldu. Yani Avrupa'dan biz Afrika'ya geçtik. Afrika üzerinden gidiyoruz biz. Burası hala Afrika'dır. Avrupa değil. Hala orman kanunları var burada.
Over the last few years, one can observe in the occupied areas a raging construction industry through the usurpation of Greek Cypriot properties. Luxury villas, tourist complexes and hotel units are being built in parts of Kyrenia, Famagusta, the Karpas Peninsula and throughout all the occupied areas of the Republic. Many of the villas are being sold to European citizens, mainly British citizens.
Söyledim işte, yani bütün bu faktörlere bağlı olarak ekonomi ileriye doğru kaydı. Burada bilinçli herkes bunun suni bir ilerleme olduğunu, suni bir refah düzeyi olduğunu biliyor. Çünkü biz ürettiklerimizle kalkınmıyoruz. Hazır bulduklarımızla bu refah düzeyimizi burada geliştiriyoruz. Yani işte en önemli faktör de az önce söylediğim gibi İnşaat sektöründe burada meydana gelen patlamalar, yani yağmacılıktan, hırsızlıktan para kazanıyoruz.
Following the opening of the roadblocks, tourism has also seen an increase. Above and beyond the tourists arriving in the pseudo-state by its illegally operating airports and ports, thousands of other tourists who come to Cyprus for their holidays choose to visit and spend one or more days in the occupied part of the island. A part then of the foreign exchange brought by these tourists ends up in the coffers of the illegal regime. It's estimated that over the past 3 years, the share enjoyed by the occupied areas from precisely this tourist movement amounts to 46 million euros. The Cyprus government contributes to the improvement of the Turkish Cypriots' standard of living in every way. Practically all Turkish Cypriots avail themselves of services offered by state hospitals. It's also impressive that a large number of Turkish Cypriots choose to be treated in private hospitals operating in the free areas.
They prefer to go to South because they don't believe in the medical services here. Either they go to Turkey, to England or to South. They also visit private clinics in the South so that they can get satisfactory, good standard health.
The European Union, as well as the international community as a whole, recognizes the Cyprus government as the only legitimate government representing the Republic of Cyprus, and for this reason the EU has no relations with the illegal regime set up in the occupied areas. It has, however, contributed to the welfare and well-being of the Turkish Cypriots themselves. A shining example is the master plan for Cyprus's divided capital to the benefit of both communities. The restoration of old buildings, the pedestrianisation of certain areas and the creation of a sewage system. The EU has also funded the demining of the buffer zone. In addition, it has contributed to the restoration of religious monuments of both communities. The foreign investment sector is also posing problems, given that the regime holding sway in the occupied part of the island is illegal. Furthermore, the presence of a large number of settlers also creates problems in economic development, while responsible for this is also the weakness of the Turkish lira being used as tender. Even a cursory look suffices to ascertain that the economy of the occupied areas is anything but closed. On the contrary, it exhibits the characteristics of an open economy, as for example its large volume of foreign trade. Imports are obviously much more than exports, and as such, problems related to competitiveness are not, as claimed by the Turkish Cypriot leadership, due to the alleged isolation, but due to the large public deficit. Up to 1994 inclusive, 55% of the occupied area's exports ended up in European countries, with the main market being the United Kingdom. The European Court's decision rendering acceptable accompanying documents issued only by Republic of Cyprus authorities changed all that. Exports to Europe fell to 12% and exports to Turkey increased. The main products exported from the occupied areas are citrus fruit, clothing, dairy products and canned foods. From April 2003 and following the establishment of partial free movement, the entry of goods from the occupied areas is allowed without any customs formalities. The goods should be accompanied by a certificate issued by the Turkish Cypriot Chamber of Commerce and are of course subject to the necessary safety and health checks required by the European Union. Consumer spending by tourists, but mainly by Greek Cypriots following the opening of the roadblocks, is another significant factor in the improvement of the pseudo-state's economy. Hundreds of Greek Cypriots visit the occupied areas daily in order to purchase consumer goods and leave behind significant sums of money. During these last 3 years, several million pounds have been spent by Greek Cypriots in the occupied areas' casinos. All these factors have contributed to the increase of Turkish Cypriot income, whereas in 2002 the per capita income barely reached €3,693, in 2005 it had risen to €7,960. The government of the Republic of Cyprus is convinced that through its proposal for the opening of more crossing points to and from the occupied areas, a greater impetus will be given to rapprochement between the two communities, thus improving prospects for the reunification of the country. The Turkish Cypriot leadership maintains that direct trade would help in lifting the alleged isolation of the Turkish Cypriots. The Cyprus government has no access to the occupied ports and airports, and as such cannot exercise any control over them or impose conditions provided for by international trade regulations. It cannot control the implementation of provisions required by international agreements concerning flight safety and the very operation of airports. As a result, it opposes their operation. In addition, the illegally operating airports are not even recognized by the International Air Traffic Association, IATA, nor are they included in the list of international airports. The same, of course, goes for the occupied area's 2 illegally operating ports. The alleged, then, isolation is exclusively due to the policy adhered to by Turkey, the dependence on Turkey of the inadequate economic system in force in the occupied areas, and the results of the invasion and occupation of the island. Cyprus is not an isolated country. It's a part of Europe, and its lawful residents, Greek Cypriots, Turkish Cypriots, Armenians, Latins and Maronites, desire to and can live in peace, free without armies of occupation. This is also the firm position of the government of the Republic of Cyprus, a just and viable solution of the Cyprus issue.